everyone, happy Tuesday and welcome back to Clues by Sam. I hope you all are doing well, and I'm sorry about yesterday's fiasco. It was an evil one in the end, so I'm okay with struggling, but I hope I could show you that different people struggle with different things, and sometimes the scenario doesn't pop up in your head right off the bat, so you gotta try everything before you actually do your guesses. And I'm sure today's is going to be better because it's a medium one, so I'm really excited for this. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily logic puzzle game where there are 20 people. Each of them is either a criminal or an innocent, and you gotta figure out why each person is using the clues that they themselves might give you. We do this every day here on the channel, and if you want to play as well and you've never played it, there's a link in the description to take you to it. I'm going to start mine right now and explain my logic as I go so you can follow along. Let's start. We start with Flora telling us that both criminals in row 2 are connected. So row 2 has 3 people who aren't assigned a role yet, and one of them is Hazel, who is the only person who is connected to any others. So that means that Hazel has to be one of the criminals, and the second criminal is either Gary or Isaac. But now Hazel tells us that Gary is one of my 3 innocent neighbors. So Hazel has 3 innocent neighbors. Among the 8 neighbors total that she has, Gary is one of the innocents and Isaac is one of the criminals. Now, I don't need Flora's clue anymore, and Gary says there is only one innocent to right of Vera. So Vera has 3 people to her right, and only one of them is an innocent, but we don't know who yet. Isaac says there's an odd number of innocents in row 5. So if there's only one innocent to the right of Vera, and there's 4 people total in row 5, Vera being the only one left, if she were to be an innocent, then row 5 would have an even number of innocents, so Vera has to be a criminal. And now she says that Isaac has exactly 3 criminal neighbors. Where's Isaac? Isaac has 5 people neighboring him. One of them is already a criminal, that's Hazel. So 2 more need to be criminals, and those 2 are going to be shared with Hazel. So let's say that Clyde, let's just simulate. Let's say that Clyde and Nona both are criminals, and that makes Martin and Noah both innocents, right? Isaac now has 3 criminal neighbors. Now, Hazel needs, how many innocents does Hazel have? 3 innocents. So in any case, because Gary is already one of Hazel's innocent neighbors, in any case, Hazel's gonna share the other 2 innocent neighbors with Isaac. Even if it were Clyde, an innocent, and Martin, a criminal, those 2 are already completing Hazel's total. So that makes both Brian and Logan criminals, right? Oh. It all froze there for a second. I hope you guys are still there. Now, let us remove these tags and look at Brian's clue. All instances in row 4 are connected. Okay, we don't know about any instance in row 4 yet. Logan says there are exactly 2 instances to the left of Tina. Tina is in row 4. So if 2 of the people who are to her left, which are these 3, are instances, then Paula has to be one of those, because Paula is the only one who's connected to any other instance. And Brian's saying that all instances in row 4 are connected, so Paula is for sure an instant. That means that either Susan or Olive are the second instant to the left of Tina. But it may be that Tina is an instant as well, which would make Susan an instant so that all of them can be connected. Now Paula says that each column has at least 3 criminals. Well, column B needs 1 more criminal, and there's only 1 that left, so we know for sure that she is a criminal. And that makes either Xavier or Zach a criminal and the other one an innocent, because we know there's 1 innocent to the right of Vera. Now, Wanda says that only 1 of the 5 criminals neighboring Gary is in column A. Where's Gary? Gary has 8 neighbors as well, and 5 of them are criminals, which means that he also has 3 innocents total. And 1 of them only is in column A. That one is Flora, which means that both Clyde and Martin, who neighbor Gary and are in column C, have to be the other 2 innocents. The clue's talking about criminals, but then I started talking about innocents and then I confused myself. Let's go back a step. Only one of the 5 criminals neighboring Gary is in column A. So there's 2 people left neighboring Gary in column A who aren't criminals or innocents. One of them has to be a criminal and the other one has to be an innocent. And that makes Gary have 4 innocents total, because so far he has 3, Brian, Hazel, and Logan. He's gonna have a 4th one who's either Anna or Kevin. And the 5th one has to be in column C then. So that makes it either Clyde or Martin. And since we know that Isaac has to have 3 criminal neighbors, and now 2 of them are in column C, then the people who neighbor him in column D, I've ran out of colors. What do I use now? Do I dare use one of the innocent or criminal tags to symbolize that? Let's see how this goes. I bet it's gonna go terrible, but now we know that these are one a criminal and the other one an innocent as well. Okay, how are we doing now? We know that there's 2 criminals here in column C, right? Hazel is one of them. The other one's either gonna be Clyde or Martin. So that tells us that either Susan or Xavier have to be a criminal at least, so that column C has 3 criminals total. But let's go back to column A. We know that column A has Vera, that's 1 criminal. A second criminal is either gonna be Kevin or Anna, so that's 2. But column A needs 3, which makes Olive have to be a criminal. And because of Olive, now Susan is an innocent. And we freed the orange tags, so let's put them here on Donna and Noah. Now, Susan says that an odd number of innocents on the edges neighbor Isaac. Where's Isaac? Here. Well, Isaac has 3 people neighboring him on the edges, and one of them is for sure gonna be an innocent, either Donna or Noah. So Clyde, who's the 3rd person, couldn't be an innocent as well, because that will make an even number, so Clyde has to be a criminal. Is the clue talking about innocence? Yeah. Clyde has to be a criminal, and that makes Martin an innocent. And now, going back to column C, needing 3 criminals at least, that makes Xavier. Am I saying that name wrong as well? Like, is this name from a nationality that I don't know? Let me know if you know. But this person here is a criminal, and that makes Zach an innocent. Now, we know about Clyde's new clue. Brian and Gary have only 1 innocent neighbor in common. So where's Brian and where's Gary? They have Flora as an innocent neighbor in common. So Anna, the other one, has to be a criminal. And that makes Kevin an innocent. And now Anna says that only 1 row has exactly 3 criminals. And now we're talking about rows. And that row is row 5. It's everybody here is already something, and row 5 has 3 criminals, so that means that row 1 couldn't have 3 criminals too. That makes Donna need to be a criminal as well, and that makes Noah an innocent. Now, what do we know about Tina? Oh, we know that Tina has to be the 3rd person who's a criminal in column D, because each column needs at least 3 criminals, so Tina is a criminal. And we are done this one. Nice, I had fun. It wasn't that hard. I think I talked a lot there, so that's why it took me a while. But I don't really care about the time, unless I take an hour to solve, because then I start to get anxious, but especially if I do some mistakes, but we're gonna forget about yesterday. The trauma is gonna pass. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how it went for you if you did play, and let me know how it went with the evil one if you did play. Were you better than me? And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.